Tyler Foster never visited his grandfather for money. He came because he genuinely loved him. For months, 29-year-old Tyler spent weekends laughing with 79-year-old Raymond Foster, sharing meals, listening to old stories, and becoming the grandson every grandfather dreams of having. Then, Raymond passed away. A new will gave Tyler control of a $2.7 million estate. Everyone believed the young grandson had betrayed his own family. But Tyler was just as shocked as everyone else, because the person who had used his name was his own mother. Stay with us until the very end, because today's story proves that the most heartbreaking family betrayals don't always turn grandchildren against grandparents. Sometimes they turn a child's love into a weapon without the child ever knowing. Raymond Foster was 79 years old and had spent his career as a commercial contractor in Dallas, Texas, building the kind of quiet, durable estate that comes from 40 years of showing up and doing the work correctly. His total assets, including his home, 2 investment accounts, and a rental property, were valued at $2.7 million. His son, Kevin, 45, had managed his care and daily affairs since Raymond's health declined in 2021, visiting multiple times each week and handling everything from medical appointments to household maintenance without complaint. His daughter, Linda, 53, lived in Houston and maintained a polite but distant relationship with the family. She called on holidays and appeared at Christmas, but had never played any meaningful role in her father's life or her brother's caregiving. Kevin had accepted this years ago and no longer expected anything different. Linda's son, Tyler, 29, had grown up with limited contact with his grandfather. When Linda suggested he visit Raymond more often in the spring of 2022, Tyler assumed it was a genuine effort to reconnect the family. He had no reason to think otherwise. What followed was something neither Tyler nor Raymond had planned for. The two of them simply got along. Raymond had always loved young people who asked real questions and listened to the answers, and Tyler turned out to be exactly that kind of person. They spent Saturday afternoons talking about Raymond's years in construction, the properties he had built, the mistakes he had made and corrected. Tyler brought lunch and stayed for dinner. Raymond called him during the week just to continue conversations they had started. Kevin noticed his father seemed more energized than he had been in years and was genuinely glad for it. Linda noticed something different entirely. She had been watching the relationship develop with a specific calculation in mind. She had identified that Raymond's affection for Tyler was genuine and growing, and that a will revision directing the estate to Tyler, given the visible warmth of their relationship, would be significantly harder to challenge than one directing it to her directly. She had also identified that Tyler's accounts were structured in a way that gave her informal access, a situation that had developed during a period when Tyler had been financially dependent on her and had not yet fully separated his banking from hers. In October of 2022, Linda arranged for a document preparation service to visit Raymond's home during a Wednesday morning when Kevin was at work. She told Raymond the appointment was a routine estate update she had helped organize because she wanted to make sure Tyler was protected, given how close they had become. Raymond, who trusted Linda's framing and whose cognitive state had been documented as increasingly vulnerable by his physician, signed the revised will. It named Tyler as sole beneficiary of the full estate. Kevin was not mentioned. Tyler knew nothing about the appointment. Raymond Foster passed away in January of 2023. Linda filed the will within 10 days. Kevin discovered the document when the estate attorney contacted him. He called Tyler immediately. Tyler's response was immediate and unambiguous. He told Kevin he had known nothing about any will revision and that he had not asked for anything from their grandfather. He asked Kevin to tell him everything. Kevin retained attorney Sandra Hale, a probate litigator in Dallas. Tyler retained his own separate counsel and provided a full cooperation statement within the week. He described every conversation he had ever had with Linda about the visits to Raymond, none of which had included any mention of estate planning or any suggestion that the visits served any purpose beyond family connection. Sandra obtained Raymond's medical records from the period surrounding the signing, which documented significant cognitive vulnerability and a specific note recommending independent counsel for major decisions. She obtained Linda's financial records through discovery and confirmed the informal access structure connecting her to Tyler's accounts. She also obtained the document preparation services records, which showed Linda had arranged and paid for the appointment without contacting Raymond's estate attorney. The hearing was held before the Honorable Judge Michael Grant at the Dallas County Probate Court. Sandra Hale presented the medical records, the financial account structure, the document preparation records, and Tyler's full cooperation statement. She called Tyler to testify. Tyler described every weekend he had spent with his grandfather. He described the specific conversations, the meals, the phone calls during the week. He told the court that those visits had been the most genuine relationship he had built with any member of his extended family, and that learning they had been used as the foundation of a scheme his mother had designed without his knowledge was something he was still trying to understand. He told the court he had spoken to Kevin the morning before the hearing and had told him he was sorry for what had been done using his name. Kevin had told him he knew. Linda's attorney argued the will reflected Raymond's genuine affection for Tyler. Sandra Hale asked the court to consider how genuine affection produced a document arranged without the estate attorney's knowledge, signed during a period of documented cognitive vulnerability, by a woman whose financial connection to the named beneficiary gave her direct access to the assets being transferred. Judge Michael Grant ruled the will invalid and ordered the estate distributed to Kevin under Raymond's original document. He referred Linda Foster to the Dallas County District Attorney for elder financial exploitation and fraud. Linda was convicted and sentenced to 4 years in Texas State Prison. Tyler attended the sentencing. He sat in the back of the courtroom and left before anyone could speak to him. He called Kevin that evening and asked if he could visit the following weekend, not for anything specific, just to sit in the house where his grandfather had told him stories on Saturday afternoons. Kevin told him the door was open. Raymond Foster had spent 40 years building something honest. His daughter had spent several months trying to redirect it through a young man who had come to love him without any agenda at all. The court confirmed the difference, and the grandson who had been used as an instrument became, in the end, the voice that made the instrument impossible to use. Would you have done what Tyler did, knowing what it would cost your relationship with your mother? Tell us in the comments below, and if this story moved you, subscribe to Court of Shadows for more courtroom drama stories every week.